Joining us now here on the Market Day Report, Oliver Sloup at Blue Line Futures. Oliver, we had the export sales numbers here this morning. We had the NOPA crush report. You've seen what's happened throughout the day over here in the futures market. How do you assess this grain complex?
Well, it's been exciting, to say the least. We saw a huge run in the corn market here over the last couple of sessions. We got out above that psychologically significant $6 handle for that May contract. And I think that'll probably kind of keep a lid on things, at least in the very near term. We do have May options expiration that expires next Friday. There's a lot of open interest at that $6 strike, so I wouldn't be surprised to see us maybe consolidate and even retreat a little bit from these levels. But all in all, things still remain constructive. We're continuing to make higher highs and higher lows. And so that keeps the trend of upward price action intact. We're pretty optimistic on the new crop contracts, both corn and soybeans. Old crop soybeans mostly range bound for the last 2 months. But if you look at that new crop contract, I think that's where the opportunity lays, and we can see that market press out above $13 eventually.
All right, well, let's shift on over here to the livestock market and get your thoughts here. Over in the futures provided by Bar Chart, we've got the April live cattle down 60, 121.50. Well, that just happens to be about where we're trading cash. June down 20, August down 30. Is this too early to call this a correction yet?
I think it's a healthy correction. We saw kind of a buy the rumor, sell the fact type of event. We rallied 9 out of 11 sessions from the end of March to beginning of April on the ideas that we were going to get the cash market to firm up. We got the cash market to firm up, and we saw some long liquidation ensue. And now this week, it's been kind of the reverse. The expectation was that we could see a little softer cash. Now that we've gotten the softer cash, I think that we can start to build a little bit of a near-term base after coming off here these last couple of sessions. There's trendline support that comes in near 120. Obviously, we tripped some stops below there, but there's also support down at 118, about 117.25, which represents the 100-day moving average and the March 19th lows. I think that'll hold, and I think all in all represents a value spot to look to the long side on this pullback.
Okay, well, the feeder cattle market sure it got its world rocked when corn took off. And today we've got May down 72 at 144.70, August down 82, September down 72. But we've eased some of the pressure over here and come off of the lows once corn come off of some of its highs.
Yeah, and the livestock market's under pressure today, kind of as a whole. But as with the live cattle, the feeder cattle coming into trendline support, and I think probably a little overcooked at the downside. And if we do get the corn market to retrace a little bit here in the near term, I wouldn't be surprised to see that offer a little bit of relief to this feeder cattle market. Now, feeder cattle on the longer term basis, I'm a little bit more hesitant to be overly optimistic. I wouldn't be surprised to see us fail to take out new highs going forward. But again, live cattle still pretty upbeat over the longer term time frame. Lean hogs, that's going to be the really interesting one to watch. That's been limit down here throughout today's session, that June contract. And tomorrow's session, I think, will be very telling for setting the tone for next week's trade.
And May's down 297, 103.60. How does that work now? Will we have expanded limits if we don't touch that in April and May?
Yeah, we'll have expanded limits if we finish down here, limit down. That June contract is going to be where all the volume is. May is not very liquid, so June is where all the activity is. We've been locked throughout much of today's session. I wouldn't be surprised to see us finish down there, and that should give us expanded limits going into the weekend, and certainly keep things very interesting, as it's been a very volatile market here over the last several months.
Well, that's an understatement. Well, I tell you what, Oliver, great job. Let's talk to you tonight on the Real Evening News. We'll talk more about this and where we go from here and how that sets the tone for tomorrow. Oliver Sloup, Blue Line Futures.